Hi, I'm Leslie Reed here with the Belong team and my friends Amy Chandy and Chris McSwain.
Happy Friday!
Woohoo! We were talking about our taxes, and since they're due and who's got them done and who's still going to be crashing over the entire weekend to get them done. Mine are done. I'm super excited.
So are mine.
And I would like to say that for the first time ever, I didn't have to file an extension.
Well,
so I'm super proud of that.
Good for you. That is great. So as we were looking at this, though, like, when does it have to be postmarked and all of that, Emancipation Day popped up in my Google feed, and I'm sad to say I did not really know about that as a federal holiday in D.C., recognizing the day in 1862 when Abraham Lincoln freed 3,100 slaves in the District of Columbia.
I love that guy.
Me too. And gave them money so that they could move on in their new life. And so it got me thinking, which I tend to do a lot, about what does it really mean to be emancipated? I mean, to be freed from something that has held you down. And so we were talking about it a little bit this morning and realized we obviously have different perspectives, but it touches us each in a different way. And so we wanted to bring that conversation to you and would love to hear some of your thoughts as well about what being free really means to you, because that's something we talk a lot about here at the Belong Tour. So for me, being free is not in the way so many people might experience it, but I was really shackled by self-criticism for so long in my life, by perfectionism, and as our friend Shauna Niequist likes to say, not being present over being perfect. Like, I just wanted things to be right, and so I didn't take risks, I didn't try new things in relationships, as well as maybe in my career.
Leslie, that really surprises me, because since I've known you, I feel like you are one of the most flexible, daring people that I've ever met.
Aww.
You will do anything.
Well, it's taking some practice, and it's realizing that, you know what's the worst thing that could happen? So I fall down on my face, but I've got friends who will help me get back up. So for me, that's, as I thought about it a little bit, that's a little bit what it means for me. But I know, Chris, you've got some different thoughts about that too. I'd love to hear where you're coming from.
So as a Black woman, the whole idea of the Emancipation Proclamation and what that did back in 1862, people think that he signed a piece of paper and that people were free. And it wasn't that simple. And I think that what we've seen historically since then into now is that there's a part of that racially that still hovers. And so for me, as a Black woman who is also a millennial and who lives in probably the most free time in our culture, I've recognized my responsibility in being free and just expressing who I am in all of my Blackness. And so not cowering to other people's opinions or perceptions, but fully embracing that this is who I am. And so if that's an outward expression, or if that's in the way that I, tell my story, that's what it means to be free in saying exactly and being exactly who I am and not being apologetic about it. I think a lot of us feel like we have to play it down. I'm not anymore. And so for me, that is being emancipated.
I really love that. And what struck me about what you just said was he signed the piece of paper, but it wasn't like they were automatically free. And I think that happens to all of us in terms of just, we have to work through our freedom. It's not just easy sometimes, and we have to connect back into that source. For me, I grew up in a ton of drama and saw probably a lot of things, sometimes in the name of God, that I shouldn't have seen. And so that really, I would run away from my story as fast as I could all the time, because I thought that was the answer. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my story actually follows me. So one day I remember someone asked me, like, how long are you going to put up with this? Because it was just like I was just in this never-ending cycle. And I went to counseling, which has literally changed my life, so go. And through that process, my counselor loves, what are those called when it's the words?
Like an acronym?
An acronym. Okay. She loves acronyms. And so when we first started meeting, she said, I just know your acronym is free. And so immediately I knew what FR was. Finally released. And it took the longest time for EE. And so one day we were in a session and she goes, I know what your EE is. And I'm like, what? She's like, emotional emancipation. And that just resonated with my soul in terms of just the process that I've gone through. But like you have said, it's not easy. It's a journey.
It's an everyday decision.
It's an everyday decision to really choose that and to work through it.
And thank you for sharing that. One of the things I love about you, Amy, is that you, because of what you've experienced, you want to give keys to people so that they can experience that freedom too, and you are not going to give up until you can see other people live in that freedom and live in that emancipation. And so you're doing that every day, and it's just a privilege to work and to serve with you. We want you guys to think about what this means in your life. Again, seriously, share some videos, share your comments in the comments section. We really would love to keep this conversation going, and you're going to have a little bit of extra time after you get your taxes done to be able to think about that, so hopefully we'll be hearing from you soon.
We want to hear your story. That's part of being free, sharing your story.
And remember that you always belong and have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon.
All right.